Isho Mishek Suekate. This is Marthoma Effect. I'm your host Hanson Wilson for the Chaya Chats series, and today I'm here with Annmaria Jimmy from St. Alphonse, Melbourne Cathedral Parish. Annmaria, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so thanks for having me, Hansa. So my name is Annmaria Jimmy. I'm currently a third year student studying speech pathology here in Melbourne. Part-time, I work as a barista at a drive-through cafe, so if you want good coffee, just hit me up. What else? And I come from a family of four, so yeah.
Thank you, and I know you're on the national team, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm part of the national team here in Australia, and I'm the secretary. So I work with a bunch of really cool people around Australia, you included.
Yeah.
So we just work on initiatives and events, just leading them and seeing what the youth wants here for Australians.
Yeah, thanks for that, and happy Feast of St. Joseph.
Yeah, happy Feast of St. Joseph.
Yes, as you may know, today is the Feast of St. Joseph, and this is the year Pope Francis has dedicated to St. Joseph. So today we'll be having our Chaya and having a chat about this wonderful saint. So, Annmaria, how much do you know about St. Joseph?
Before, knowing that this year was the year of St. Joseph, didn't really know much about him. I knew he was the foster father and, he was the legal guardian of Jesus, yes. So he was just, St. Joseph is a bit of a mysterious man to me. He was kind of in the background scenes of everything.
He doesn't really speak much.
No, he
doesn't. I don't think he utters a single word in the gospel.
No, he doesn't. So with that, I kind of assumed that, he's just there, God put him as just being the fatherly figure, but I never really understood what that actually meant, the responsibilities, the sacrifices he had to make. But it was only after finding out, this year was the year of St. Joseph, I did a little bit of research and, read Pope Francis's Apostolate letter, Patris Corde.
Yeah, Patris Corde. That's what we were saying it right.
Yeah, which means with the Father's heart. So, reading into it, did a little bit of research, and it was really amazing because I was just opened up to so many new, things about St. Joseph that I never knew about before. So, yeah. Yeah,
so for those viewers that don't know who St. Joseph is, he's a saint from the Gospel. He's known as the foster father of Jesus. And he was a loving dad in the Holy Family. He's also the patron saint of the church and of families. So he's a very interesting saint. He is known for his actions rather than his words, of his trust in God, trusting God's voice through his dreams. So let's dive a little bit into that. So, when you did your research about St. Joseph, what struck you and what attracted you personally?
Yeah, so for me, I think the biggest thing was, he was such a courageous man, saying yes, and he said yes without hesitation. The angel came to him in a dream, and he knew he was betrothed to Mary at that time, and she was with child before marriage, and he still said yes. He still went through. He never, dismissed her in private. He never did anything like that. Even though in that culture and in that era of the time, something like that is something that's really looked down upon. So the courage for Joseph to say yes was really inspiring.
Yeah, trusting in God's word. Even when you're uncertain of what could happen. It's a very amazing and very inspiring character of St. Joseph. Yeah.
And it's really interesting for me that, sometimes, we, in our own lives, it's difficult for us to say yes. We think of all the hardships that we might face first. We might think of something and then we say, I have to give up this time or I have to give up this. But Joseph, he knew everything. He knew that, after Jesus was born, he, couldn't stay in one place, he had to escape. And even knowing all of this, he still did it. And because he knew that was God's plan, and he had to do anything and everything he needed to do to fulfill this plan. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, in the gospel, it may seem like a very quick transition from the birth to running away from Herod, but there would have been a lot of difficulties in between, just the fact that they didn't even have a place in the inn during the birth of Jesus. All the struggles Joseph would have gone through to protect Mary as she's about to have the child, and trying to find an inn for her. He would have gone through immense troubles, but he still said yes, and he still looks out for that voice of God in his dreams. And I think that's another thing he's known for his dreams. The angel of the Lord always appeared to him during his dream, and it's something that I wish that would happen to me. I hope so. It's a very visual way, for God to speak to us, and I guess we need to discern, if this is the voice of God. And Joseph definitely knew that. Yeah. He knew it was the voice of God, and he took that leap of faith. Yeah, exactly. And that's, how he was able to be part of God's special plan to bring Jesus, his son, into the world. Yeah. And what did you think about Joseph as a family man? If you were, in Mary's position or in Jesus' position, seeing Joseph as a father figure, what inspired you there?
Yeah, so I think Joseph as a family man, let's say, he could tell he was a man who sacrificed everything for his family. He, even though he was the foster father, he still, the way Jesus was brought up, he obviously had the qualities and the values to bring up Jesus in a particular way. And that's amazing, because I think something that's also really, shown throughout Jesus' life in Joseph as well is the love that was shown in through Joseph. And it said, I think in the Apostolate letter, it said, Joseph was a tender and loving father, and it just showed that God's love was a vessel through Joseph, and this man was just the physical person, and God's love was just channeled through him. So just to see how amazing it is, God's love, it's shown through one person, and to be chosen by God, and to be that family man, and to bring Jesus up, to teach him the ways of life. It's just amazing. And for Mary to know that you have that support, he's a man that will understands the plan. I think that's really important. Someone who understands that the plan of God, you're a chosen one, you're special. So definitely. I think that's it's really important.
Yeah, Joseph in the family is a way that God would show us the importance of family, the sacrifices, the little sacrifices that would go into being in a family. Yeah. And I know, we all come from a family, a wonderful family that has raised us in our faith and, in our Syro-Malabar traditions, showing us that this faith is so precious, so that we need to cherish it. Yeah. And Joseph, as a pious Jew, would have done the same for his family, and he would have brought Jesus to the temple. It's all mentioned in the gospel. They went to the Passover festival. So he brought up his family in the faith that he had as a Jew, and I think that's a big part. Just being a man that brings up his family in faith.
Yeah, and to do with faith as well. It's written, I'm just going to read it exactly how it was said. So in the Apostolate letter, it said, faith in God includes believing that he can work even through our fears, our frailties, and our weaknesses. So just through Joseph, it shows that, God works, through you when it might seem impossible. So Joseph probably never thought this was how his life was going to end up, prior to, before knowing about Mary. So just knowing that, you know, God has a plan for you. And just a Bible verse that actually came into mind when I was looking into this was Isaiah 58:11. So if God brings you to it, He is going to bring you through it. So I think that's really heart touching as well, because if God, you know, God chose you, He has a plan for you, even though you think that, you know, you're just someone in the background, or you're not really, you know, up there for everyone sees. There's a reason why He made you like this, and you know, you can do His ministry through that. And I think that's exactly what Joseph did as well.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thanks for that. It was wonderful to hear your thoughts on St. Joseph.
Right.
It was good to explore, you know, the St. Joseph's life and how we can relate so much to our faith journey. And yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. But we'll be having another guest for the next episode, and kind of look more into the reason why, you know, Pope Francis dedicated this year to St. Joseph, and you know, many of the things we talked about today would come into effect as well. But we'll look a little more into Patris Corde, the Apostolic letter. But yeah, that's it for today, and I'm Hanson Wilson, your host.
I'm Annmaria,
and this is the Marthoma Effect.